In the news this week, this is how it starts.
There are two people who have died.
A tourist has a confusing experience at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum.
Are these people real? Are they alive? And can they write email?
White women get the pep talk they needed to thrive in 25.
To not give up, to not look down, to not end up in the Container Store like I did for 3 weekends in a row.
On Everett's team tonight, you know him from Kids in the Hall, Fargo, and News Radio. Fun fact, he was the one who first said to Joe Rogan, hey, you ever heard of these things called podcasts? It's Dave Foley. And joining Michael, she's the representative from Texas' 30th Congressional District. And if she's got good posture, that's because lately, she's the only Democrat with a spine. It's Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. All right, let's get into the biggest stories of the week. Amber and Dave, I'll start with you. I'm going to show you a clip package referencing a major news event from this week. You look at the package, tell me, what is the story?
Helicopters, where aren't they?
That's a Russian flag.
And that's Ukraine.
Ukrainian flag. There's a contract,
No.
there was a deal that was going to be signed between the United States and the Ukraine. They're calling it a deal. It was more of like an extortion to sign over the rare earth minerals.
Vibranium.
Yeah. Yes.
You had points right up to vibranium. Yes, that is the story. Mr. Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, came to Washington to nail out a deal over rare earth minerals, and then it went completely off the rails. Question off the top, how did Trump greet the Ukrainian president, who is, as of right now, still America's ally?
A chest bump? It's not impossible.
Not.
Trump greeted President Zelensky with a customary American negging.
Ready close? Ready shut?
He's all dressed up today.
Bitch, my country is at war. I need to be dressed in war shit. I can't go.
Traditionally, diplomatic attire requires a tie that covers your balls.
You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough.
You're right, his tie is covering his body.
And may I say, did you not find that comforting?
If Trump is bad cop, who was in there playing good cop?
There wasn't one.
It was Vice President J.D. Vance who rolled out the Ohio hospitality like this.
For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Vance said what he had to say, then Zelensky hit him with the old, well, actually.
Can I ask you? Sure. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. Those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people.
You know what?
Ooh.
Facts are rude.
Well, sometimes you got to Ukraine-splain shit to people.
He came in, laid it out, and tied them up in their own words in his fourth language. That is how easy it is.
Yeah.
Zelensky said what he had to say. Here was Vance in response.
With respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Oh, thank you for letting your dog shit in my yard. Thank you. Now, J.D. told Zelensky, you should be thanking me. Now, how you think old Zelensky responded to that?
I'm pretty sure he realized the error of his ways.
Here,
and
take 80% of our natural wealth.
Zelensky clapped back with this.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
ever been there before? Have you been to Ukraine? To which J.D. Vance said,
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President.
if you watch it, you've been there. I watched Star Wars, man. I've been to the Dagobah system. I've been to Tatooine. I've been there. You been there?
Yeah, I've seen the stories. I didn't have the time to read them.
And I'm sure that, you know, they have a trip planned, because obviously Joe Biden did it, so of course they're gonna walk and see what's going on.
Yeah. As soon as there's a Trump Tower they can stay at.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to know how Zelensky's handling all of this, just watch his eyebrows anytime you see him on camera in America. Just look at his eyebrows right here.
They respect me. Let me tell you.
My eyebrows get me in trouble too.
It's like in a cartoon where your eyebrows raise up off of your head. That's how high the mugs got.
There was a metaphor Trump kept coming back to over and over.
He said, you don't have good cards. You're not playing good cards. And Zelensky took some offense to that.
He had the nerve to say, we're not playing cards.
Imagine that.
And pointed out they were, what was it called? Fighting a war.
Here's the exact analogy Trump kept making.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
Not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you don't.
I'm
You're
very
playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What are you speaking about? What is this? Why are you such an asshole to me?
What was the moment after this?
There's more?
Where,
I know, right? Like, seriously.
where the meeting really went off the rails. See, that was just off the rails. That was on the rails, off the rails, and then it went really off the rails.
A bear came in and fought everyone? What else?
It was this exchange where Zelensky landed a punch. Let's see if y'all can see where it exactly happened.
You invited
If
me
you
to
didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
Now, I will say the one good thing about this meeting is that when they do that reunion show with Andy Cohen, it's going to be good.
Yeah, but it should have ended with Zelensky snatching his wig. That would have been appropriate. Yeah.
So Fox put a pretty good spin on what happened. Here's what Fox News said.
The lunch that they were supposed to have is sitting right outside the hallway, and the press staffers are going to be eating that lunch.
What do y'all think the consequences are going to be from all of this?
It's going to be really bad. I mean, I do believe that Putin did win, right? Like, he literally has the president of the United States under his finger.
I would like to point out, I don't think it's his finger that Trump is under. I can see where you might make the mistake.
It's still, where does your mind go on a regular basis? Michael and Jasmine.
Okay.
I will show you all a clip, and you all tell me what is the story.
Alrighty. That's the Capitol. That's where you work. And that's a calculator.
Yep.
And they're saying
Are
yes.
we voting? We're voting, yes. I think it's got to do with our budget vote. It didn't go too well for us, you know, us Americans. Didn't go too well for us.
This week, the House just barely approved President Trump's budget resolution, which is the first step towards enacting his legislative agenda. Technically, it was called Resolution 14, but what other name have people been using?
Project 2025?
A good guess. Yeah. A good-ass guess. But let's hear the answer.
One big, beautiful bill.
One big, beautiful bill.
A big, beautiful bill?
Big beautiful bill, okay? Like that's the president's phrase, and I've adopted it. In fact, I have it tattooed on my chest here. I could show you.
Big Beautiful Bill is Bill de Blasio's Tinder username.
Who's your best Republican friend?
Oh, I don't want to out him.
There was one sole Republican who voted no on the Big Beautiful Bill. Mm-hmm. Does anyone know? Is it the one that like you?
The representative was Thomas Massey.
Thomas Massey from Kentucky. Seen here watching the girl of his dreams marry somebody else. Here he is before the vote.
If the Republican plan passes under the rosiest assumptions, which aren't even true,
We're going to add $328 billion to the deficit this year. Why would I vote for that?
Congresswoman, why don't the other Republicans know math?
Like, this isn't about, like, doing what's right by the American people. And the one thing that I will say is I disagree with his overall, but I agree with the fact that he at least stood for something. And the rest of them don't stand for what they claim to be.
Can you give that same exact speech to Hakeem Jeffries the next time you see him?
Y'all cannot beat up on my leader!
What did the budget resolution that was passed this week say about Medicaid?
Medicaid's for losers?
It said absolutely nothing. Watch.
Do a word search for Medicaid on the resolution that we passed last night. You will not find it.
Now, Americans might need their Medicaid soon because earlier this week, Elon Musk delivered some exciting medical news at Trump's first official cabinet meeting. Musk admitted that at least one DOGE cut was a mistake.
So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention.
Now that's the accent I hear and I start running.
Turns out everybody should be very concerned about Ebola because even though Musk says Ebola prevention has been restored, officials say that's not true. USAID said that, quote, the teams and contractors that would be deployed to fight an Ebola outbreak have been dismantled. Now, with all of these cuts happening with DOGE and the mistakes being made, everybody's, of course, asking the question, who the hell is in charge of DOGE? Who is the person pulling the strings? Who's the puppet master of DOGE?
Well, it's obviously Elon Musk.
I'm with you.
That can't be true because Trump said he isn't. And why would he lie?
The administrator of the Department of Government Efficiency is actually Amy Gleason, seen here hearing the words, actually, I am the manager. But a lot of people are wondering whether or not Amy's really all in on DOGE. What makes people question Amy's dedication to the job?
That she runs a TJ Maxx?
Oh my God, I was gonna say the same thing. I was gonna say she looks like a Maxxinista.
Yeah.
A lot of people are questioning Amy's dedication to DOGE. Here's the reason why.
When we reached her by phone yesterday, Gleason said she was in Mexico and declined to further comment. Adriana?
All right, I wonder what she's doing in Mexico.
Why Mexico? First 100 days of the new administration. Interesting.
Maybe official business.
Could be.
Could be, maybe not.
Yes, the New York Times confirmed this week Gleason was scheduled to be on vacation in Mexico. You know what? I'm gonna defend old TJ Maxx on this one. DOGE firing people, don't even know they're getting fired. How you even know you got hired for DOGE? You just got the job all of a sudden out the blue, and you know she put that deposit down for that Mexico trip 2 years ago. This is not a person that gets travel insurance. Congresswoman, how do you think the constituents are responding to the big
they're not feeling it. Like, the Republicans are like, guess what? We don't want to do this anymore. We're not going home. We are hiding from our constituents because they are coming out the woodwork.
Let's take a look at a recent town hall hosted by Wisconsin Rep. Scott Fitzgerald.
There is no law, and there is no order, and there are no consequences. Nobody is held to account.
The end result of the fraud and abuse that has been discovered already.
They booed that boy like the Apollo. Oh my God. Here's what happened down in Georgia.
When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected.
Let's get through this. Congressman, hey.
Yeah. I've seen Game of Thrones too, thank you.
Game of Thrones is the wrong reference to make, because after they said shame, 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 they threw shit water on that list. Amber, let me pose a hypothetical question to you. Let's just say you're a GOP elected official, and you just saw these two town halls go terrible, and your town hall is coming up tomorrow. How would you prepare for that town hall?
I would also go in there, I would get my ass handed to me, and then I would go to Trump and be like, look what I did for you, mama.
Now, that's one strategy, but a lot of GOP officials have responded to voter pushback by just canceling their town hall meetings altogether.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Is there any reason for an elected official to not have face-to-face communication with the people that elected them?
You know, what's really sad is that literally, collectively, they are hurting their own constituents. They always want to say food stamps is about the black people, right, in the urban centers. And the facts are that when we look at rural America, they use more SNAP benefits than anybody. And guess what? We talked about Medicaid, but we didn't talk about the fact, it's not mentioned in the bill either, but they're also going after SNAP. And the way that they couched it is, for ag, they said, fine over $400 billion. Well, that's SNAP. And then for energy and commerce, they said, well, fine over 808. That means it's Medicaid. So we know what they meant, but they didn't want to put it in writing. And instead, what they did is they went out and lied.
Can I just make a suggestion? I would be more than happy for the four of us to not say another word and just give you the rest of the hour.
There's one Democrat that stood up to Elon Musk this week. Who was that Democrat?
I think it was Jasmine.
Crockett?
Jasmine Crockett.
We're going to go with Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, I'm gonna say Hakeem Jeffries. Who was it?
Here's the answer.
If you could speak directly to Elon Musk, what would you say?
Fuck off.
We'll be right back.